We need to talk about brave patriot Lauren Boebert being persecuted by people who are like, don't grope your significant others in crowded public settings. Don't grab the hog. What is this country coming to? You know, when my grandpa grew up, you know, it was an American pastime to grab your hog during the Beetlejuice musical. And now, due to all this namby-pamsy, like communist Obama nonsense, you can't even grab your hog on the first date anymore. By the way, this was a first date. Can I emphasize this before we get into this? This was the first date. The first date. And they're grabbing the hog, grabbing boob. I mean, they're like halfway to the home run, right? The first date. Look, I don't want to judge people for what they choose to do in the privacy of their own home. First problem is, this ain't in the privacy of their own home. But I also don't want to judge people's personal family life. But I also know if a gay politician got caught doing this, Lauren Boebert would give them no quarter. And if we found out it was just a gay person or trans person doing this, they'd be given no quarter. And so I just want to hold her to the same standards that she's going to hold other people. And if you guys don't believe me that there would be a hubbub, I'm going to show you guys in a little bit a reaction from Michael Knowles that I think just about confirms it for me, because he's already talking about it. But let's just break down the story, because many of you could be lost. You don't know what I'm talking about. So a few days ago, Lauren Boebert, the radical Republican extremist, and I'm calling her an extremist because she is one, right? I'm not using that. I don't use that word for every Republican. I will use that for Lauren Boebert. Lauren Boebert went to a Beetlejuice musical on a date with a significant other. And while at this Beetlejuice event, and I want you to think about this through the Beetlejuice event, during this Beetlejuice musical, I want you to think about this as a politician who just barely got reelected with like 50.01% of the vote in a red district, but you're such a clown that the Democrat almost beat you. And the Democrat did a good campaign, but also she's such a clown that the Democrat almost beat her. Well, she decides in this crowded theater that she was going to vape, yell, put her hands in the air, block the people behind her. These are multiple reports from people there. And apparently get grope with her date. And we have footage of this. This isn't just like hearsay. Groping Lauren Boebert, grabbing her bazongas, grabbing the bing bongs, okay, while she's in the seat next to him. And there she is vaping right there, just openly in this enclosed space. And I didn't even notice she's grabbing and recording the show. You can see the flash of her camera. It's on the back of that guy's head. How annoying is she? She actually has the flash on for her camera. But also, she gropes his sausage. She gropes his sausage. He gropes her I don't know what I'm going to call them, bazongas, meat bags, whatever you want to call them. Extremely inappropriate. And you can see it right here in this enclosed setting. You can see her guiding his hand. This is something that's going to be important here. Watch, she guides his hand. I want you to make note of that. That she's not like, no, don't do it. Look at her. She moves her hair and then guides his hand to her breast. And then she follows that up by reaching her hand down between his leg and grabbing his crotch, as you can see there. This in public behavior would be called, I think, degenerate, perverted, sex peste, if I'm being completely honest with you, and just gross. You don't do this in public. Now, am I really that outraged by it? No. It's not a good thing to do, but it's also not like a new thing. Like, we all know about the idea of, the popcorn in your lap and in the movie theater and getting frisky in the movie theater. But usually, number one, you do that in like an empty movie theater. I always thought was the idea. This is like a packed arena. I don't know why so many people were so excited to see Beetlejuice. I didn't know it was such a staple. And also, when asked to stop, when you get caught, you usually stop. And it wasn't just her groping. It was her also doing a million different annoying things to drag attention to herself before she then started to grope his hog. So it was like she brought attention to herself and then started to get frisky. Obviously, and while I'm not one to hold people to the highest moral standards, this is not conduct that is becoming of a congressperson. If you expect other people to follow laws of common decency, then you yourself have to follow laws of common decency. If you expect to go out and make all this ramblings about, I'm so sick of these drag queen story hours and this inappropriate behavior in front of youth. I'm angry at Pride and how they're, showing all the bits, all the jiggly bits to the public during these Pride marches. It's so inappropriate. You don't do that in public. And then you yourself go and do this. You're a massive hypocrite and you need to be called out on it. A massive hypocrite. Now, even though the evidence, I think, is overwhelming, and there's a lot of people, including conservatives, who are saying what she did was wrong, there are still some people who are coming out to defend it in some way. And I think the best example of that would be, and I just want to use one example because I don't want to get bogged down in all the defenses of it, because some of them are quite stupid, was on the Daily Wire, and it was Michael Knowles, who went on to say things like, my friend Lauren Boebert, we've all done embarrassing things while we thought we were sitting in the dark. And then there were security cameras that can see in the dark. That can be even more embarrassing. Now, I have never groped anyone's hog at a crowded Beetlejuice event. And also, it'd be one thing if she just groped his hog and that's all that was shown on camera and did nothing else. But she actively brought attention to herself, increasing the odds of people seeing her grab his hog. I'm going to say the word hog as much as I can. Anyway, listen to what he has to say.
A story that I'll touch on very briefly because it would appear to be one of the top stories in the news. My friend Lauren Boebert has gotten in a bit of hot water because there was a hidden camera in a dark theater catching her getting frisky or something.
Okay, can I first say it's not a hidden camera. He says it like it was like a sting operation to catch Lauren Boebert, like Project Veritas does with like a hidden GoPro or something. It wasn't a hidden camera. It was a security camera in a crowded theater for people who were there to see a musical. Every single chair we could see on camera was filled. So it's not like he makes it sound like she was doing something that was like, oh, she thought she was super hidden, and maybe she thought she was hidden, but she had no good reason to think she was hidden. Definitely when she brings so much attention to herself.
Lauren has since apologized, and she said, yeah, going through stuff in my life, and I fell into this temptation of bad behaviors, and anyway, I'm sorry. It's really embarrassing and really sad. Good enough for me. Good enough. Some people were saying, how could anyone accept Lauren Boebert's apology? I think, well, I don't know, because she's on our team. And
well, there you have it, guys. She's on our team. She's on our team. So any hypocrisy, immoral, or needing to be held to the same standard that we hold our opposition, anything like that, so we don't look like hypocrite. No, she's on our team. I can't believe he's that blatant about it. But okay, she's on our team. Queen Bee, thank you so much for the primer.
And it's not hypocritical to extend a little bit more grace to the people who are your allies. That's called politics, first of all. And it's a good thing to do when your side is promoting.
Look, if you treat it with more scrutiny when your opposition does something than when your own team does something, then I do think it's hypocrisy. At least it's at least blatantly partisan.
Promoting good things and the other side is promoting very bad things. I think if someone generally if people apologize, it's good to accept.
Do you think if the first trans congressperson did this, do you think Michael Knowles wouldn't do a rant about like the trans lifestyle and the trans ideology? has rotted their brain and has made it so they're just a degenerate, like, zombie for cock. And they can't stop themselves anywhere. It's just tick, 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 tick. No, that he would go on some spiel along those lines. But now there's Lauren Boebert. It's like, my friend Lauren Boebert made a bad mistake. Well, more like 5 or 6 or 7 bad mistakes in a row, but she made a bad mistake. And I forgive her because we agree politically. That's what he said. I dumbed it down, but that's what he said.
Apology, but certainly if it's someone on your team, I think that's fine. And 2, I think she is legitimately embarrassed by it, and we've all done embarrassing things, and we've all done a lot of embarrassing things.
Well, just because you're embarrassed doesn't mean you're sorry. Like, I'm sure, like, a lot of people were embarrassed when they get caught doing any number of crimes. Doesn't mean they're sorry. I'm sure the drug dealer who is dealing, like, laced fentanyl, right, in the community as he gets dragged out of his apartment is embarrassed to have his, hands behind his back, get dragged out like that. Doesn't mean he feels bad about it. I mean, I don't know if she feels bad about it or not. I can't read her mind. She seemed to be having a lot of fun at the time.
When we thought we were sitting in the dark, and then when there are security cameras that can see in the dark, that can be even more embarrassing. And also...
Dude, I don't know what he's talking about. Like, everybody's had this experience. I have not had this experience before. I have not.
A curd is a curd.
Fake Alec Kyle Parker got a
have you guys had this experience before?
Only white people can become vampires.
What? Is that because only white people can be bloodsuckers? Blood-sucking colonialists? Anyway, thank you for the tier 1. I appreciate it.
The third reason, and I think the strongest reason for accepting an apology like this, is Lauren is saying, look, I did something bad. I fell short of my standards, and I'm ashamed of it, and I regret falling into the temptation of bad behavior for doing things that the liberals exalt as positive goods. Anything you can accuse...
What? The liberals exalt vaping in a crowded theater as a positive? Grabbing the hog in public around people who did not consent to watch that? No. This isn't like some event where everybody signed up to go to some rally or went to some kink event where everybody going there knows it's a kink event. Or if they end up there, it was scheduled to be a kink event, but they got, we didn't know. It wasn't like an event where everybody going to it knows it. This is an event where everybody signed up for Beetlejuice. And what they got instead was the Lauren Boebert show in her worst moments. So no.
Accuse Lauren of doing. The liberals say is good, it's empowering, it's wonderful, it's expressive, it's virtuous. And so
who said it's virtuous to grab somebody's hog during the Beetlejuice musical? I believe it was Chomsky. I think Chomsky said that.
So when they attack her for it, it's obviously disingenuous, because the only crime, according to the libs now, is hypocrisy, by which they don't even really mean hypocrisy. They mean having standards and failing them, which is called sinning, which is called being human. So the only people who really would have any standing to...
But the thing is, Michael knows would hold somebody else to these standards and would go rail on and on and on about it. But because, and he said this openly, she's on his team, so she gets a freebie.
Attack Lauren for this are conservatives. And had she not apologized, I would totally get it. But she apologized. I think she's embarrassed. And I think it's fair enough to, move on.
So she's moving on. That's all the attention he gets. Not exactly. He said he was going to move on. Then he didn't move on. Then a day passed and he decided he was going to add some more opinions. And now, instead of moving on, now he's saying that maybe we should go out and arrest pride parades and drag events if she's getting persecuted, quote unquote, like this for public indecency. Drag queen story hour and pride parades are much worse than anything Lauren Boebert did in the theater. Let's listen.
I'm all for enforcing public indecency statutes. I think that's a great idea. We haven't done that in a long time. I'm all for going after material and behavior that appeals to the prurient interest, that could be obscene. I think that's a great idea. I don't think they're going to get Lauren on this. I don't think the camera in the theater, I don't think it really rises to that level.
I don't think they should, by the way, I don't really think they should charge her or anything. I don't think she needs to go to prison for this. I think she's been, like, thoroughly humiliated. And I guess that's enough, right? But I also know that if the tables were turned, I'm pretty sure Michael Knowles would be calling for somebody to, like, be arrested over public indecency.
But I have noticed that there are a lot of Republican counties in Colorado. Denver is very blue, but there's a lot of Republican counties. And those Republican counties have Republican DAs. And I've noticed a lot of counties in Colorado have Drag Queen Story Hour. Google Drag Queen Story Hour Colorado. You will see pages and pages of events come up. And I think that if Colorado all of a sudden wants to get serious about prosecuting lewdness in public indecency, well, that's great. Then those Republican DAs should arrest every single one of those Drag Queen Story Hour performers. I also noticed that there are a lot of
Okay, I'm just gonna be blunt here. This is just stupid beyond stupidity's sake. One was people signing up to go to an event where a person would be dressed like a woman in some probably elaborate gown with a bunch of pretty colors that kids would like, with rainbows and whatever. And then they read The Very Hungry Caterpillar, right? And the parents voluntarily take their kids to that event knowing that that's what's going to happen, okay? If I went to the Beetlejuice show, I didn't go to the Beetlejuice show thinking I was going to see Lauren Boebert grabbing, just reaching in there, nearly up, digging into the taint, digging into the mining, man. She's in there. She needs to put on like a miner's helmet. She needs like protective gear, like a scuba mask. She's about to get in there deep. Not only that, but vaping in my face and yelling and blocking the performance with her arms. It wasn't just guiding his hand to like grab her tits.
A curd is a curd.
Blue Rider
I
of
didn't sign up for
Neptune gives
that.
Dragon Hughes a Tier 1 subscription. I think it also should be noted that Boebert lied about it first, then apologized after she got caught red-handed.
That is
the
true.
apology was only being disruptive.
That is true. She did. I didn't bring this up yet, but she did lie about it at first. And only when the footage came out and she couldn't deny it, she came out and admitted it. And that's another reason why I don't think I would take the apology at such face value like Michael Knowles has, is usually if somebody is lying about doing something and then only apologizes after they get caught, then there's more of a question, or there has to be more of a question, about whether they're genuine in their apology or they're only sorry because they got caught. If Lauren Boebert immediately when it got stated was like, look, I shouldn't have done that, and she didn't lie, then maybe I would feel more genuine. I feel like she's more sorry that she got caught and embarrassed in public and was shown to be a hypocrite. But there is a massive difference between going to a Beetlejuice musical thinking I'm going to get Beetlejuice and instead getting Lauren Boebert's Horny Hour, and going to a Drag Queen Story Hour event and having somebody dressed like a flamenco or whatever their drag costume is, appropriately, because these performers know when they go to these events that they're going to be reading books to children. They're not wearing like skimpy thongs and stuff like that. And then they read The Very Hungry Caterpillar. There's a very big difference here. One, people signed up for the Drag Queen Story Hour and went there expecting the Drag Queen Story Hour. And two, it is not explicitly sexual, like example 2, what Lauren Boebert did, which number 1, people went there not expecting the Lauren Boebert Horny Hour, and number 2, it was explicitly sexual with her being groped and her grabbing his knob. So these two things are not comparable. I think that's enough of Michael Knowles, to be quite frank. I think we've listened to enough of him. But there is one consequence for Lauren Boebert, it seems, and it's that a lot of people kind of are distancing themselves from her right now as she makes a public fool of herself. She recently seemed to have gotten kicked off the Texas Youth Summit, which is a TPC, I think a TPUSA event, after the Beetlejuice groping incident.
New tonight, more fallout for Colorado Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, who was kicked out of a Denver, Colorado theater for unruly behavior earlier this month. She no longer appears.
Trashimancer has donated $5. Just like I'm not going to apologize for my bootleg Dylan Burn body pillow until I'm caught.
Thanks for the $5, Trashomancer. I appreciate it. I'm gonna get an extra lock on my door.
Appears to be a guest speaker at the Texas Youth Summit later this month in the Woodlands. In an email the organization sent to KHOU11, Boebert was featured prominently in several flyers. That was Friday, but today all images of her have been removed from their social media accounts. Boebert was caught on camera vaping, groping her date, and being disruptive during a performance of Beetlejuice. She initially denied vaping, but later apologized after the surveillance video was released.
She's like being a jerk while leaving so you can see it. Anyway, last thing I'll point out is I do want to show Lauren Boebert's response directly, because you know you got to give her like an opportunity to respond, right? Well, her response, and this is her forgiveness, is she says she stopped seeing the handsy Beetlejuice date because he's a Democrat. Don't worry, I'm no longer going out with that Democrat. It's the Democrats. It was the Democrats' fault all along. It was Biden. Really, it was Biden that groped her. Representative Lauren Boebert is already over the man she was caught groping during her not safe for work date at Denver Theater last week. Man, I don't want to say that. That's too cruel. Now that she found out he's a Democrat. The hard-right Colorado congresswoman says that the thrill is gone in a short-lived romance with Quinn Gallagher, the bar owner she caught on camera in a groping session while in the audience of the musical Beetlejuice. The pair was escorted from the auditorium minutes after getting a warning at intermission for their boisterous behavior. Officials later said the hard-right politician and Gallagher were vaping, singing, recording, and causing a disturbance that produced complaints from others in the audience. Man. She claimed, here it is. But it wasn't the kerfuffle over their behavior that put a dart in the romance. She was apparently unaware that he does not share her ultra-conservative politics. Boebert has gone to battle over drag shows in particular. Gallagher is the co-owner of the Hoochcraft Cocktail Ball in Aspen, which occasionally hosts drag shows. I learned to check party affiliations before you go on a date. Is that what she learned? Is that what, out of all of this, what she learned is you shouldn't date half the country because of their political beliefs? That was her lesson. Oh, the Democrats spoiled me again. It was Hillary made me grab the hog. Lessons learned, lessons learned. Here is her actually saying it.
I know it's, been a rough week. Or has it been?
It's always hard whenever there's gravity put on the voters. I'm here to provide levity and lift burdens off of people. So anytime that they're carrying,
yeah, she was certainly lifting. She was relieving some stress and some burdens that night.
Mine, it's something that I kind of feel deep inside, but
yeah, real deep. Sorry, I'm sorry. That's unprofessional.
All future date nights have been canceled, and I learned to check party affiliations before you go on a date. But all in all, it was.
That's really like her answer? Like that's her lesson to TMZ about everything that happened. It wasn't, respect those around you. Do those things in the privacy of your own home. It was hold yourself to the same standard you hold others. No, it was don't date Democrats.
It was mostly a lovely time, and I've taken responsibility for my actions. Would love to know how the musical ended, and I encourage people to go and see it. But it was a great time back in the district, seeing voters and.
So how are the voters taking it? How are the voters taking it right now? Are they understanding at this moment?
Yeah, there's a lot of folks who are certainly understanding, and they understand that.
A lot of support, okay? Look, I grope for Boebert, okay? I am in unity. I grope for Boebert. I'm on team.
It's a part of my personal life, my private time, something that I really.
Okay, last thing to wrap this up. I just thought this was funny. Lauren Boebert liked a tweet complaining about theater security cameras. How are there more cameras at the Denver Theater than where they found cocaine in the White House, liked by Lauren Boebert? Yeah, I don't think she learned her lesson. Oh, yeah, she's a groiper. And that's okay, I'm done.